Well, welcome everybody to the second edition of Syncari Coffee with Customers. I'm joined today by Sam Bowley, the Senior Director of Revenue Operations at Metadata. Sam, thank you so much for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
And just to kick things off, Sam, if you wouldn't mind, could you just provide a bit of an intro to both yourself and Metadata for the audience?
Sure. Metadata is a marketing automation platform that is working as an operating system for marketers to allow them to scale campaigns in mass and free up time to do more important things like strategy. I myself have been in RevOps, sales ops since 2009, been in the B2B SaaS place almost the entirety of that, and Metadata is a rocket ship that I'm happy to be a part of.
Woohoo, good to hear it. For the audience, my name is Aaron Landgraf. I'm the head of marketing at Syncari, and Sam is one of our customers and the type of customer who is always pushing us to be better, which again is why I'm so thrilled that he's here today to share some of his insights with you all. Sam, to kick things off, can you just talk at a high level around some of the business problems that you were trying to solve when you started looking for solutions and ultimately landed on Syncari?
Certainly. The biggest use case was that we have a bunch of product usage data that was in our platform, and the CSMs, the salespeople, did not have access to it easily without going to an external dashboard that was built on a bunch of SQL queries or going into the platform itself. And as a company, we weren't utilizing any of this data to actually understand the health of our customers. So I had begun work on trying to do all of this via spreadsheet and was introduced to Syncari, and I saw a light bulb moment like, hey, these folks could help me get this information into Salesforce in a much more real-time capacity than what I was capable of doing. And this could solve a lot of our problems.
What was the impact of the delay, like the lag between getting product usage into Salesforce before Syncari?
I think it was grossly underutilized. Like the CSMs were not looking at it. We didn't know what a healthy customer looked like in terms of product usage data. We were guessing in terms of what upsell potential was. So putting this data where the salespeople, where the CSMs were operating was a night and day difference, just in terms of visibility, but also in terms of being able to, create retention plays or focus on the upsell motions.
And as you started to invest in Syncari, as you started to think through, how to bring those product usage insights into the places where people work, right? What were some of your quick wins and your aha moments where the value of Syncari really started to compound for you?
Yeah, there were two of them that were really quick. One is, and if you think about Metadata, Slack is our virtual HQ. Like we're 100% remote distributed. Slack is where everyone works. And so it was very easy to set up Slack alerts for new inbound lead for the SDRs, or closed won celebration in a channel, closed lost in a private channel for the sales leaders. With the closed won, we even included a GIF, animated motion, so that it's a morale boost. Like everybody looks forward to seeing that GIF as it comes through. Another quick win was deduplication. Yes, Salesforce has some duplicate notifications, but Syncari actually let me go a step further and go, hey, if this contact exists as a lead and a contact, convert and merge. Or if the account already exists and the lead comes in, attach that lead to the account as a contact, so that the database is much more cleaner and the AEs and the SDRs don't have to complain as much about dirty data.
And for the audience, know that coming up very shortly, we're going to have Sam actually walk through how he's used Syncari to stand up and deliver on some of these wins. Before we do that, though, Sam, you talk about Slack being your digital HQ. Like, what is the the value impact to you around being able to send data or to move data or to send signals perhaps to the places where people are actually doing their work?
Well, one of my philosophies as a RevOps professional is to put more time back in the day of the sellers, right? And so where the sellers operate is where I need to surface the data, right? So if we're operating out of Slack, they should be able to get notifications in Slack for A, B, and C. If they're operating in Salesforce, I need to get the usage data to where they're working and try not and to minimize travel to other platforms that cost them clicks, that cost them time, that cost them more logins. All of that stuff takes away from selling time. So putting the data in front of the people where they work is table stakes for RevOps.
Awesome. Love it. So, if you don't mind, what I'd love to do next is literally just show people how you deliver on this with Syncari. So if you don't mind pulling up your instance, we'll do a quick walkthrough at the high level, like what your tech stack looks like, what your data ecosystem looks like, and then actually diving into some of the pipelines that Metadata has deployed.
Happy to. So this is my Synapse Studio, and you can see right now I have six Synapses operational. I got Salesforce, Zendesk, Amazon S3 bucket, some Google Sheets, the newly released CSV, and then Outreach. And so all of these guys are sending data to Syncari and also receiving data back from Syncari. So it allows me to do multi-directional data transformation.
And are you unifying the data in Syncari as well?
We are.
Okay. How do you think about unification relative to, you have systems in which three, if not more, teams do their work, right? SDRs in Outreach, AEs and CSMs in Salesforce, CS and support in Zendesk, and then product teams in Amazon, right? Like how do you control for things like data authority, data governance, et cetera?
This allows everyone to operate in their platform, and then normalization occurs either in Syncari or in Salesforce and pushes the other way, right?
But what this is doing for you ultimately is making sure that the people who are working in Zendesk Outreach have access to the latest and greatest data. Yeah.
Correct. We have it set up so that if a customer has a new contact added, as an example, that contact is created in Zendesk so that person can create tickets if they need to, or if a new user is added to an account in Zendesk, that contact is created in Salesforce so that the Salesforce account is always updated. It's the basics of blocking and tackling in terms of making sure that these people and these people have the same information regardless of what platform they're operating in.
Yeah, and I mean, before Syncari, right? Like what would that have looked like? How would that?
Oh, that wouldn't exist. Just a non-starter.
Yeah. Okay. And as a result, you feel like teams are, more aligned on what's happening within a specific org. How do you all talk about just the value of having that information internally, shared information internally?
I think the highest praise that we can give is that we don't talk about it. Right? It's like this is the referee on the field during a sports game. If everything is operating correctly and it's entertaining, you don't talk about the referees. They're vital to the game, but they're not the focal point. This allows customers to become the focal point without having to talk about dirty data.
Nice. Okay. Well, let's dive into some pipelines then. So if you don't mind flipping over to Sync Studio and talking about some of your quick wins first, I think that'd be great for the group.
Yeah, everybody at home, don't pay attention to my mess. Like, don't judge me on this. But if we look at the opportunity, if I double click into that, you can see here, it's really simple. So we have an opportunity come in and Syncari looks to see, is it one No. Is it lost? No. Then just send it on through. If it is one, look up the owner and look up the account, fill in some tokens, and send it on to Slack with a morale boosting win message. And you can see there in the bottom, there's the little Giphy that we have going. But if it is lost, then look up the owner, look up the account, and send it to a much smaller Slack channel that is just for tracking closed lost information. And then on the right side here, it's just regular updates. Another quick win that we have, if I go back, is to look at, I'm going to click the right button this time. I'm going to click on lead. And a lead comes in, and this is where we send it to Slack for inbound notifications, or is it a contact? And it looks at the contact to see if it has an email address. And if it does, if the email address matches one that already exists, it converts it and merges it with that contact. If the contact does not exist, but the domain matches an existing domain, then it converts and it adds it to the account as a contact. And it just helps to keep our database fresh and sparkly clean.
So fundamentally what we're doing here is lead to account matching, right? You're making sure that your accounts have a complete view of, your leads, contacts, and ultimately, the complete picture on opportunities as well, which we're going to get to here in a second.
Correct.
Awesome. All right. So these were your quick wins. I know we started the conversation with a description of the business problem being around product usage data. So if you wouldn't mind showing folks how Syncari is helping you bring product usage into Salesforce, that'd be great.
Awesome. Happy to. This mess up here is where all of the product usage data comes in. And if you're a Salesforce geek, the way that you would do one of the ways that you would do this is in Excel, and that is to create parent-child relationships. And let me back up a second and say that in metadata, in the usage data, customers can have multiple instances, and we want to track those instances on a monthly snapshot at a roll-up level. So to do that, we create, they're called instances in the metadata platform, but in Syncari, we call them children, and they roll up to a metadata usage record that is a monthly snapshot, and that usage record rolls up to the account. And so when we were having to do this manually in Excel, obviously you have to create VLOOKUPs from all the children, all the instances, to find out who the right account is. Then you have to go create all of the parents, and then you export all of that and create all the VLOOKUPs. And then you add the children to those VLOOKUPs and then import all the data. And so it was nightmarish. And with Syncari, it all happens magically. The children are added. If I double click on a child, it does all of the magic for me. It looks up to, hey, does this find the account? Does the parent already exist? If the parent doesn't exist, then create it. Otherwise, just update the child record. I mean, it looks complex on the screen. It would be even more complex in spreadsheets, but this data transformation allows us to do so much business intelligence, and it's 100% worth it.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this, Sam. I can't tell you how many RevOps leaders I talk to that basically live in spreadsheet lands, like SpreadsheetOps could be part of their
Yes.
title, for Pete's sake. So really great to see how you've been able to get out of some of that, SpreadsheetOps behavior and automate it so you can focus on certainly higher value tasks. Like when you think about the work that was required to do this pre-Syncari, how much time were you spending getting the data, how and where you needed it?
I think we started this process a year ago. It was probably, I would guess, probably a day of focused activity on building all the spreadsheets and the VLOOKUP tables and the data imports and trying to get all of that information in. And so, I mean, it was just a day of work,
Yeah.
probably half a day, maybe, once I got my all of my reports templated out and everything else. But still, I shudder to think about going back to those days.
And when you think about, the value of Syncari now, you're, almost a year into your Syncari deployment, right? You have a number of use cases operationalized, from bringing in product usage insights to notifying people on key data changes in Slack, some deduplication, some lead to account matching, right? Like how is the value of Syncari discussed internally now?
I think everyone knows who Syncari is. It's not lost on anyone that this allows us to do, just the product usage information alone has allowed us to do so much within the business that probably was unthinkable a year ago, or at least not able to react in a near real-time focus like we do today. So everyone, engineering, product, sales, CS, they all know that Syncari is the engine that allows us to get the data from product into Salesforce. And so everyone knows like the value that we're getting because of it. And a year ago, I was a team of one. So as a one-man band, trying to do all of this and get it in and put it in the hands of the reps was time consuming. And now this allows me to do other things and try to make people's lives better in other ways. I don't have to think about this anymore. This is beyond a problem. It's like I don't have to worry about it at all anymore. It just runs. So I'm very thankful for that.
And drilling into this aspect of a real-time customer health score being accessible by CS teams, AEs in the systems where they work, right? Like, what is that allowing them to do?
The sky's the limit, right? Like we have real-time information or near real-time information in terms of, hey, so-and-so score has jumped. Like, this is the right time to go push for an upsell. Or, hey, so-and-so's score has taken a dip. We need to deploy this specific, retention playbook. It's allowing us to be more proactive and near real time instead of a 30-day lag and a series of postmortems about what went wrong. But it also allows us to look at the customers and go, okay, this is what healthy looks like. And this is what healthy looks like now in our customer base as opposed to a year ago, right? There's no shortage of data. It's just getting it in a way that you can do something with it and understand business behaviors as a result of that and make business decisions accordingly.
And Sam, if you were to give advice to, a RevOps or just an operations professional who's looking at Syncari and deciding if it's, fit for purpose, what would you tell them?
Well, obviously I'm a fan. But having said that, when I look at our evaluation of Syncari a year ago, and if we talk about just the product usage light bulb moment in and of itself, we're talking about, using Syncari or doing it manually. And if we use Syncari, we can go down the path of getting it in near real time. Or if we're going to do it manually, we're going to do it once a month, because my job load, all the other responsibilities, I could only dedicate one day a month to doing this series of data loads, or we have to go through more people at the problem. So the choices were use Syncari or don't do anything and just continue with the status quo. if you're a RevOps professional and you find yourself doing a series of just spreadsheet ops that could be automated in some fashion, like you should explore that and allow yourself the opportunity to automate it so that you can focus more on the strategy that everyone pushes RevOps professionals to do and not spreadsheet ops.
How do you think about what Syncari enables you to do from, building a best of breed stack?
So, like most RevOps professionals, I manage too many platforms, right? I think the last count I managed something like 20 something platforms. And I don't believe in one throat to choke. I believe in building a best of breed tech stack. And Syncari allows me to do that and then connect those platforms together so that it runs in a harmonious environment, as opposed to a whole bunch of disparate data sources that don't communicate with each other.
And when you say harmonious, right, like what are some of the, what comes to mind around systems operating in harmony? What's enabling that harmony?
Well, let's go back to the use case that we talked about originally. One of the use cases we talked about originally, and that is Zendesk and Salesforce. Yes, there's a Zendesk to Salesforce connector. No, it doesn't do that much. But with Syncari, I have bi-directional flow of contacts. So if a contact is created in Zendesk, it shows up in Salesforce. If a contact is created in Salesforce on a customer account, it shows up in Zendesk. And so these two platforms are in harmony. And using even the native Zendesk for Salesforce managed package, that doesn't happen. With Syncari, it does.
Awesome. Well, Sam, we are at time. Just wanted to say thank you so much for not only being a valued customer, but for joining us today and sharing some of your insights, not just on how you think about Syncari internally, but how others should think about Syncari as they're deciding if it's fit for purpose for them. So again, Sam, always enjoy our chats and can't wait to see you either on another one of these calls or in person in the near future.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, Sam, we'll be in touch. Have a good one.
Bye.